Everyone loves talking about Steven Singer, my good friend Steven Singer. You've heard the expression a million times. I hate Steven Singer because most other jewelers hate him. They can't stand the guy. Why, you ask? Because Steven Singer delivers the best quality, real diamond jewelry at the very best possible price every single day. He makes it so easy to buy real diamond jewelry for someone you love. And he makes it fun. Yeah, I'm not kidding. No phony sales, discounts, or pricing games. Steven wouldn't treat his friends any other way. So why would he treat you differently? Steven Singer. He's a jeweler you can trust. Steven also has the best guarantee in the jewelry business, a full 100-day, 100% money-back guarantee, plus fast, free shipping all year long. Experience the difference. Visit our good friend Steven Singer in his showroom at the other corner of 8th and Walnut in Philly, or more conveniently online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Real, natural, rare earth-born diamonds from a real jeweler you can trust. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price. That's IHateStevenSinger.com.
Now, this is Common Sense with Bill O'Reilly on 77 WABC.
Indeed it is. Common Sense. Anthony Cumia filling in for the vacationing Mr. Bill O'Reilly. I guess he's back next week. Maybe not. I don't know. He's in China. That's a long trip. This is my final evening here filling in for the great Bill O'Reilly on Common Sense. And, hey, I liked it. A lot of fun. Thank you for your support and tuning in. First, right off the bat, R.I.P., rest in peace to Bernie Kerik. Yes, the former New York police commissioner, Bernie Kerik. He's dead. It happens. I didn't know he was sick. I got the pleasure of meeting Bernie a couple of times over the course of the years. Seemed like a nice guy. He was the police commissioner in New York City during 9/11. And, you'd think that would be what the media focuses on. Imagine you are the head of the police department on a day that was so tragic for all involved. So many police officers and firemen killed on 9/11. And, Bernie being the police commissioner, that weighed very heavy on him. And, the way he handled it and the way Giuliani as mayor handled it was amazing. Really an amazing job. And the NYPD going in there, standing and going through that pile for days and days and weeks, trying to find anything, any hint of their fallen brothers and the people that worked in the buildings. Just amazing. And what does the mainstream media concentrate on? Bernie Kerik, who served as New York's police commissioner and later pled guilty to tax fraud before being pardoned, has died. Now, I understand it's part of his history, but man, you would think they'd have a little couth. Actually, you wouldn't. It's the mainstream media, little pieces of garbage. But they had an issue with this guy for quite some time. One of the safest cities ever during Giuliani as mayor, and Bernie Kerik being the police commissioner from 2000 2001 saw over some of the safest times ever in New York City because the police were allowed to do their jobs in New York. It was amazing. They could actually arrest criminals, and the prosecutors and DAs and judges in New York, actually put them in jail. They didn't just let them back out to roam around and commit more crimes. It was quite the renaissance in New York City under Giuliani and having Bernie Kerik in there as police commissioner. I recall it being an amazing time in New York. Coming off the heels of the 90s, the dreaded 90s, with the crime that was going on, murders and every type of crime. New York was really a scary place. The Wilding, remember Wilding in Central Park? And the Wilding in the public pools? It was a nightmare. And Central Park was synonymous with muggings. There were, every comedian made jokes about getting mugged in Central Park. TV shows, the same thing. And, he did his job, Bernie. Obviously had some issues. I guess, what was it? He lied, they said, on a mortgage application, something like that. He received over $250,000 in apartment renovations he received from a construction firm that authorities say counted on Kerik to convince New York officials it had no organized crime links. Whoops. He served 3 years in prison before his release in 2013, and then Donald Trump pardoned Kerik during a 2020 clemency blitz. And Kerik then went on to obviously support Trump, and he was kind of shoulder to shoulder with Rudy Giuliani during the 2020 election debacle. And, Giuliani got in trouble for just saying that the election was rigged in 2020. So kind of sad. Bernie was a good guy. I don't know if he I didn't know he was sick either. And most importantly, he followed me on social media. So, bon anima, Bernie Kerik. Bon voyage to the afterlife, slipping off this mortal coil. Just wanted to acknowledge Bernie Kerik. Other things going on that, my God. Anthony Weiner. Now, I know Anthony Weiner did some time, not only in jail, but here at WABC Radio. So when these stories popped up, I wasn't sure. I don't know. I'm like, Can I just be honest and speak about Anthony Weiner without getting in trouble? I didn't ask, and I still don't know. So, more importantly, I don't care. Anthony Weiner is not a good guy in my eyes. Let's just put it that way. In my eyes here, I don't know how they feel about him at the radio station. But I do not see Anthony Weiner as a good guy. He spent time in prison for sexting underage girls. And I believe there was some other inappropriate things going on with a laptop and just a guy that should maybe hide his head in the sand. As they say, because to try to come back and have a political career is astounding to me. Democrats just have no sense of self or sense of shame. Just figure out something else to do and try that, because no one really wants to. No one's going to vote for this guy. I think even Democrats realize he's just not cut out to represent the people. He's running for New York City Council. Going to start down at the bottom, I guess, and see if he can work his way up to, mayor, governor, whatever. But, this guy just, can I go out on a limb here and say he's a piece of garbage? No, I've had my run-ins with cancel culture. But, calling out certain members of ethnic communities and saying that perhaps there is a problem with violence that needed to be addressed. I wasn't doing anything different than a lot of clergy were doing, and government officials and community organizers had said over the course of the years. I mean, they put rhymes out, silence the violence. That's all I did. And I was summarily canceled and had to go my own way on the internet, make my own broadcasting company because I was canceled for that. I think it's a little different when you actually go to prison for sexting underage girls. But leave it to The View, the gals of The View, the cackling hens of The View. They decided to put Anthony Weiner on and let him speak, get his word out there, his platform, because he's running for a city council in New York City. So here's a clip. Let's hear what Anthony Weiner has to tell the wonderful gals of The View. Yeah, no, maybe. Yeah,
so
the first
Anthony,
one. Oh,
when you got out of the Who's Gal,
yeah, it's great. Just make fun of that.
you vowed that you would never be on a ballot again. You said that, and now you're running for New York City Council. So why are you doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I said at the time was I couldn't imagine there would ever be a chance that either people would want me back or that I would want to get back into that again.
Yeah.
And I scratched the itch in other ways. When I came out of prison, I ran a countertop company where we employed the formerly incarcerated, and then I was on the radio on a conservative radio station being the House Liberal.
Yeah.
But when I woke up in November of 24 and saw the election results, but more than who won, I looked around New York City and saw how many fewer Democrats even turned out to vote. And I started to say to myself, something is seriously wrong here. And I tried to get to the bottom of it, and I said, listen, people should be active and run no matter how the politics work out. But we're in hardcore anti-Trump territory, and Trump did better. And I started looking around, and I realized because the candidates that were running, even in local offices, were doing everything possible to run like a frictionless campaign where they don't say or commit to anything that might antagonize anyone. And if there was anything we learned in 2024 is that voters were letting out a shry, as we say in Yiddish. They were letting out a cry that they wanted things to change.
Yeah.
And so when I was going around my neighborhood, just as a civilian, saying someone should run for office who's doing something different, people would say to me, you're right, why don't you do it?
Yeah.
And the answer kept being, because people would be mean to me. They'd say nasty things or they'd talk about my past. That's not a good enough reason, I didn't think, not to get off the couch and try.
Because you were out there. You really spoke to the people.
So, yeah. Do you think anybody walked up to him and was like, hey, Anthony Weiner, you should run? No one. No one was asking him to run. Again, these people, I think a hefty portion of narcissism is in there, They just can't stay off the stage. Hey, you're building cabinets. You're building countertops with people that were formerly incarcerated, and that's great. That's good. It doesn't get you on The View to talk to those hens, but it sounds like a pretty noble living, especially if you've been in the joint, as they say. But guys like Anthony Weiner, these politicians, they're such narcissists. They have such a entitlement. They feel like they are needed. They got to run because there's no one else that's going to do a better job. Well, you were convicted of a pretty heinous crime, and no one wants you. No one wants you back. And the fact that he's trying to kind of crap on Trump as president, because he's just a liberal Democrat, this Anthony Weiner. Listen to this clip. Anthony Weiner, he's calling out the fact that Trump was convicted of 34 felonies. We all remember it was lawfare. It was nonsense. It was overkill. Once again, these charges came from this allegation that he overvalued his properties to get loans. And meanwhile, the banks that he got these loans off of were totally happy with the transaction. He paid the interest on it. He paid back the loans before they were even supposed to be paid back. No one lost money. He wasn't stealing anything. But they were trying to get him on something. Letitia James, the prosecutor, she ran on her platform was, hey, I'm going to get Donald Trump. So anyone trying to compare like, well, Donald Trump, 34-time felon, just stop. Just stop. Even if it was legitimate, it wasn't. But even if those charges were legitimate, a little different than being convicted of trying to hook up with underage girls. So good luck trying to make that comparison. So here is Anthony Weiner calling Trump a 34-time felon, and listen to the stupid audience. They are just clapping seals. Anything they say on that show, the dumb audience will applaud. Listen to this.
Congressman, so there's a growing sense of just general distrust in elected officials. Take the New York Democratic mayoral race alone. You have Eric Adams, his corruption charges, which were then dropped by the Trump DOJ. Former Governor Cuomo resigning over sexual harassment allegations. Scott Stringer has also been accused of sexual harassment. Now, they all deny these allegations. Do you understand why so many Americans just feel so disillusioned with politics?
Yeah, I mean, and Donald Trump is a 34 times felon. And look, I think, right. You can draw two conclusions. One is people don't care. I don't believe that. I think people do care. But I do think there is some success to this idea of trying to convince enough people that you've somehow been persecuted. And I think what politicians sometimes don't realize is voters don't expect you to be some kind of paradigm of greatness. They want you to be an honest, authentic, full person, okay?
No,
and I don't...
All right. You could cut him off. Thank you. An honest person, that's what people want? You can't tell me there isn't a feeding frenzy whenever a little imperfection comes out with some politician, especially if you're on the right, you're a Republican, a conservative. The mainstream media, the lying propaganda wing of the left, the mainstream media, will jump on it and attempt to tear apart and smear the person. Look at Elon Musk. They've smeared him. Thank God nothing stuck, because they don't capitulate. They don't. Trump and Musk didn't turn around and go, oh well, let me bow down. Let me apologize. Let me shake my head in shame. No, they said, screw you. I didn't do anything, and continued their work to actually do something for the American people. But it's very difficult for someone like Anthony Weiner, who was convicted of a virtual sex crime, to try to come out the other end squeaky clean. But leave it to the girls of The View, who have lambasted Trump, lambasted Elon, called him horrible things, said he was a criminal and a terrible person and stupid. They get guests on, call Elon a genius, a stupid man. But they're sitting here creaming over Anthony Weiner. Who? How would they feel if he sent a sext message to one of their daughters? Just phonies, more phony hypocrites. Yuck. We'll be right back after these words. It's Anthony Cumia in for Bill O'Reilly. This is Common Sense.
Now, this is Common Sense with Bill O'Reilly on 77 WABC.
Yes. Anthony Cumia in for Bill O'Reilly. This is Common Sense. I know. Anthony Cumia hosting a show called Common Sense. That's insane. There was a big bust. ICE raided job sites across Florida, one in Tallahassee, 100 arrested at Florida construction site. And, of course, a lot of complaining. A lot of people are very, very sad about this. They say construction workers were arrested. They say immigrants were arrested. Truth be told, illegal aliens were arrested from various countries. These, where? Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua. I love when they say that. Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Colombia, and Honduras. Over 100 illegals arrested at Florida job sites, some previously deported, some with rap sheets. All of them thought no one would notice. How is that? It's like the number one thing the Trump administration wants to do. Get some of these people out of here. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Homeland Security investigation served multiple search warrants as part of an ongoing investigation in the Tallahassee region. This is good. And then here's the excuse you get. Here's the thing people say to try to justify keeping illegals in this country. Well, who's going to do the work that Americans won't do? And illegals are doing these jobs, blah, blah. This is what you hear. And you are supposed to go, yeah, I guess you're right. That's wonderful that illegals are coming here. Contractors are hiring them at insanely low wages and pumping out some of the worst quality construction I've ever seen. I am in litigation as we speak for my house that I bought down here in South Carolina a few years back. Still in litigation with the builder because of all the issues. You go on YouTube, go on social media, you follow any building inspectors' accounts, homeowners, and you will see an unbelievable number of videos of houses that are garbage because contractors are getting cheap labor by hiring illegal aliens who don't know what the hell they are doing. And you got leaky roofs, windows with gaps in the casing, doors that don't fit, floors that are unlevel, walls that are bowed out. And it's just every single part of a house and new construction has a problem with it because these contractors were hiring illegals with impunity. Now, maybe it's hard to go after the contractors, and believe me, I'd like to see that. I would like to see at least one of these guys get in severe trouble for hiring illegals. But you don't see it. You don't see it. So what can be done and what Trump is doing, what obviously the last administration and many administrations before the Biden puppet regime did nothing. And it became commonplace to the point where, like I said, they use it as an excuse. Oh, yeah, well, Americans won't do that. Well, why won't Americans do that job? Why won't young Americans do that job? I got to pull out my age card again. I recall, as a young American, going to job sites and getting construction jobs. And I kind of fell into the HVAC, heating, air conditioning trade. And I became pretty good at it and made a living. That's what I did. I don't recall illegals doing the jobs on these job sites. They were young American men. And some of them were really good, some of them not so much. But you certainly didn't see this just buildings, houses falling apart. Basic construction that these illegals have no clue, and contractors that only care about the bottom line. I could hire these illegals. I can make more money on this house. We want quality as Americans. And I honestly believe we're willing to pay a little more for it. Just because something's cheap doesn't mean it's good. And to people that say, well, Americans don't want to pay more. I want to pay more for quality work. I would have loved to have paid a little more for this house and know that the quality is good and that the roof didn't leak. And all the mechanical items and machinery worked, but they use that as an excuse, and it goes hand in hand also with this nonsense that every American that pops out of high school needs to go to college, and people like Bernie Sanders, we will use the rich people's money to send every American to college because what is it? What is it, Bernie? So we hire illegals. Who's doing the jobs? If every American is going to college, what guy in his 20s that normally would swing a hammer or a paintbrush or learn how to spackle, where are they? We don't need them because we have the illegals. Oh, okay. That's great. And in the interim, they're committing crimes and, rape, robbery, murder, what have you. We as Americans want quality. We used to have that in this country. Now, we're paying less. Americans don't want to pay that much. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And young Americans do want those jobs that illegals are getting. And it's not like they're going to get paid a fortune being an apprentice carpenter or a steam fitter or steel worker or whatever. They understand that it's an investment in them. By not getting paid what a master carpenter makes, you are working towards that. It's been looked at as something to be ashamed about, to have a skill in the trades, to build things. Many, many American families were raised and fed and housed because a man was a tradesman. And somehow they made this bad, and they told all these kids they could go to college, and we replaced all of those workers with illegals. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Also, if you're paying a little more for a house or anything because it's built here in this country, it's an investment in the country. You're not just spending money. You're not wasting money because you got to pay a little more for something. You're investing in the country. And it helps with every aspect of this country. Young people working people in this country, they're not committing crimes. They have a sense of pride. They're learning something. They work with their hands. And you could step back and look at something you built and be proud of it. That is gone. And who did it? Who's excusing the Biden puppet regime and other administrations before that convinced a nation that our young people won't do this job or that job, and that we have to survive as a country, we have to allow an invasion to take place. And people bought that? Who actually felt good about that? And the mainstream media was pushing it. And we ended up with so many problems in this country. And they're all linked together. You got a crappy house, brand new, $1 million homes. $1 million homes, multi-million-dollar homes. And you watch some of these videos, and these inspectors go through it, and it's like they go up into the attic and you look at the roof ridge, the big beam going across the top of the house, and then the rafters coming down, they're not even, nails are just popping through the roof, and they're not attached to anything. This is some of the most simple things in construction that you have to get right, and they're hiring illegals that do not know what they're doing because they say American men don't want to do that. You've turned them all into wusses. All these young American men, you've told them to take these courses in college that'll spit them out the other end with a diploma that is worthless. Some type of race studies or some poli-sci degree, and then they get spit out the other end. They're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and they have nothing as far as a marketable skill goes. And this is good. There are people that will tell you this is awesome. Go to college. We will use the rich taxpayers' money. A man that never, ever signed a paycheck for an employee. Bernie Sanders, AOC, all of them that think all of the young people should go to college and we should hire illegals to construct houses of cards. They're ready to fall down. I think there are plenty of young kids that want to work. They want to learn a trade. And I think America is willing to pay for what they're getting. Not this unbelievable price that you think is a ripoff. A price that you're willing to pay to have a good product made for you by Americans. Yep. That's my take. We will be back in moments. Don't you go anywhere. It's Anthony Cumia. I am sitting in for the great Mr. Bill O'Reilly. This is Common Sense.
Now, this is Common Sense with Bill O'Reilly on 77 WABC.
Welcome back. Anthony Cumia in for Bill O'Reilly. This is Common Sense. Thank you for tuning in and supporting the show and the station. We do appreciate it. Sticking a little bit with the illegal thing, it's of course the other thing, the American people that are all for this. They're doing whatever they can to thwart ICE committing crimes. We've seen judges that have given illegals the opportunity to escape from ICE. They should be tried, arrested, and tried and convicted for what they're doing. Also, a lot of boomers. I hate this because technically, mathematically, I am considered a boomer. I know about technology. I can work a computer and my phone. That alone should qualify me to not be a boomer. I'm more a Gen X guy. I was at the tail end of the boomer generation. And to see these bats, these old battle axes, coming out and protesting against ICE and defending illegals in this country, it's, quite frankly, it's disgusting. So Martha's Vineyard, here's a woman, an old boomer bat, that's in Martha's Vineyard, of all places, holding up a sign that is supporting illegals and trashing ICE. She's warning people in Martha's Vineyard, mind you, to be careful, look out, ICE might be in the area. Who are they deporting from Martha's Vineyard, aside from maybe the maids at the Obama house, perhaps? But they honestly think they're doing something worthwhile. I think they're so bored with their lives. These are the same people you see at the pharmacy in front of you when you're in a hurry. And these old fossils get up there and they start yapping with the pharmacist. And they're talking about, well, my doctor told me that I need to take these pills. Are there any side effects? Move! I'm just trying to buy some condoms here. What are you doing? Get out of the way. But it's like they use every opportunity just for human contact. Their kids don't want to see him or talk to him. So they use any opportunity. So this protesting thing against ICE and against Trump and this nonsense that Social Security and Medicaid is being cut when it absolutely is not. It's some reason for these old people to get out of their mothball-smelling apartment and have some purpose at the tail end of their lives. And boy, they really seem to be dedicated to the cause, no matter how stupid they are. Here's this woman on Martha's Vineyard, and she's talking about ICE and illegals, and it's ridiculous. Check this out. Oh, Martha's Vineyard lady warns residents of ICE on island? No? Oh, that's a shame. Well, let me do my impression. We could be next. That's what she said. We could be next. They're deporting people that are American citizens and these migrants that have come here to get away from terrible situations. And don't think you can't be next. Era. Well, truth be told, no. They're not deporting American citizens. They're deporting illegals. Oh, this guy's been here 40 years. He has a business. He's got a wife. Doesn't matter. Adios. Oh, you found it? All right, let's give it a whirl.
I think it could be any of us next.
Martha's Vineyard resident Jane Catch held a sign yesterday at the Vineyard Haven terminal warning visitors.
The island has a history of supporting people who are different, supporting immigrants.
What?
Everyone in this country is entitled to due process, whether they have paperwork or they don't.
No, that's not quite true. I think people are entitled to due process, but illegals that are here, the due process is to deport them. There isn't a jury trial that can go on for 20, 30, maybe 40 million of these illegal aliens that have come into this country. Their due process, the process that they are due, is getting deported, filling out some paperwork, and get out. Get out of this country. They think their due process should be like an episode of Perry goddamn Mason. Every illegal, millions sitting before a judge with a jury there. They are due a trial when they eventually commit a crime. That's due process. That's the process they are due when committing any other crime. But being here in this country illegally, the United States government absolutely has the power to throw them out and send them back where they came from if they are here illegally. And the idea that this woman from Martha's Vineyard is actually saying that Martha's Vineyard has a long history of supporting people who are different, maybe as maids, gardeners, chauffeurs, I could see that happening. They are amongst the most actual racist people you'll ever see. They honestly believe that they are accepting diversity when their extremely vetted foreigner or person of color comes to the vineyard to work for them. That is the only time they want to see that. Unless, of course, it's a former president, too. That's half white and half black. They'll allow that on Martha's Vineyard. But the idea that these people think that Martha's Vineyard is diverse and welcoming of people that are different, because they hire as the lowly workers, people of color and people from other nations. Again, just the ultimate in elitist hypocrisy out of these dopes. And yes, people, I did not forget. I hear you. I hear you through the walls of my house clamoring, Anthony, why don't you bring up 2022 when Governor DeSantis, in a brilliant, hilarious move, sent illegals from Florida up to Martha's Vineyard. A busload of 50 illegals were sent to Martha's Vineyard. And do we remember how those illegals were dealt with? Were they welcomed by the Martha's Vineyard population? And was their diversity celebrated by women like this one we just heard from? Not really. As I recall, and as you may recall, they were thrown out in 24 hours. It was hilarious. It was such a brilliant move by DeSantis, and it showed the hypocrisy of these liberals that live in these unbelievably wealthy enclaves around the country. They don't want these people anywhere near them. And when a busload of 50 of them came up, they gave them soup. They gave them a couple of sandwiches, loaded them back in their bus, and said, bon voyage. Later, they were waving at the bus. Some of them, a gentle tear rolling down their cheek as they were leaving. They 24 hours. Not quite like that town in Ohio, Springfield, where they're eating the dogs. Remember when Trump? They're eating the pets. They couldn't kick them out in 24 hours. And when the citizens of Springfield tried, or at least even spoke up and said, hey, maybe we don't want Haitians in our neighborhood. We're a neighborhood of 30,000 people, and you're increasing our population by 50% with people from Haiti that don't understand our suburban culture here. And they were called racists and xenophobes and terrible, terrible people who came up with these rumors and harmful lies about pets being eaten. But Martha's Vineyard, oh boy. Bye-bye, that's what they said. Era, get these people out of here. I don't want to see another illegal alien in my yard. Get them out of here. And that's what they did. So, again, proving themselves as being hypocrites and racists. The left, you will never find a group more racist than the left in this country. Back in moments to finish up with Common Sense. Anthony Cumia in for Bill O'Reilly. Back in a flash.
This is Common Sense with Bill O'Reilly on Talk Radio 77 WABC.
Anthony Cumia. Anthony Cumia in for Bill O'Reilly. Common Sense. And I wanted to touch on this. Trump. He slammed Biden, and this is a guy obviously has some form of dementia. Not Trump, although the mainstream media would lead you to believe he's the guy that has a mental health problem. But Biden, of course, has some form of dementia, whether it's Alzheimer's or whatnot. And Trump, he also has cancer, aggressive, metastasized cancer. But Trump, being himself, doesn't care, and he was called insensitive for his remarks today about Biden. Let's listen to those remarks now.
Look, he's been a sort of a moderate person over his lifetime, not a smart person, but a somewhat vicious person, I will say. If you feel sorry for him, don't feel so sorry because he's vicious. What he did with his political opponent and all of the people that he hurt a lot of people, Biden. And so I really don't feel sorry for him. But
yeah. I mean, when you have an administration that tried to put you in prison, you were running against Joe Biden. And regardless if he had his sanity at that point, you don't give sympathy. You don't give well wishes to a guy who tried to put you in prison for doing nothing more than running against him. Because that's really all it was. You talk about weaponizing the judicial system in this country. My God, the Biden puppet regime, whoever was pulling the strings, that's exactly what we saw. So good on Trump. Good for him not caring that Joe Biden might have a deadly disease. He probably had it during his presidency. He absolutely had some form of dementia during his presidency. And everyone around him, every single person in his administration, in the mainstream media, knew this. There's not one person, I don't care what Jake Tapper tells you. Every single one of them knew. They never told us. The White House cover-up. And they lied to the media. When were you asking any questions about his mental acuity for the 4 years that Joe Biden was supposed to be the president of the United States? Anyway, thank you, everybody, for tuning in this week as I hosted for Bill O'Reilly Common Sense. You could catch my show right here on WABC Radio. Download the app. Tell your friends. The Anthony Cumia Show, Sunday night, this Sunday. You could hear me 8 to 11 p.m. Right here on WABC and its affiliates. I'm syndicated, my friends. And we'll be back then. Listen to us Sunday. Have a great weekend.